Welcome to LaPaz and the LaPaz Waltz.
This is our windlass remote that broke. 2 years. And we don't even leave it plugged in most of the time. Usually I unplug it, bring it inside. But 2 years in the sunlight has destroyed this plug. So if you can see, there are threads, and then there's no threads. See how broken that is? So I've been trying to be really gentle with it. But the last time I used it, it popped out, and it actually bent the ground prong that's in there. There's 3 prongs in there, and this one is not only bent, but it broke off. That's one's up, one's down. On the very bottom is the ground one. It looks like there's been some water intrusion in there. And I believe the water came in because the plastic threads don't like the sunshine. I don't know why this isn't made out of metal. Same with the one that goes through the through hole, or through the deck. You know, the female end of this plug. I don't know, I guess I'm gonna hardwire it somehow, figure it out. As for now, we're just dropping the anchor manually. And luckily we do have, I did wire 2 switches in earlier before we left to run the windlass. So we have up and we have down. Oh, but look at that. The little rubber, totally breaking off.
Already, we've only used it once.
What's crazy about that is we never use those buttons, ever. It's just this environment. The sun and the UV is brutal on everything. So those little waterproof rubber caps apparently are no longer. We're gonna be going into LaPaz tomorrow. I'm not a big fan of the anchorage. Between the current and the wind and the tides, everybody dances around. They call it the LaPaz Waltz.
I'm actually kind of excited to be back. We've got some friends here that we're going to check in with. And it's just a gloriously warm night. Like, I'm so happy right now. Barefoot and almost hot. It's okay to be back. I like it.
We're going to enjoy a nice, peaceful, quiet evening at this anchorage. Jessica made us some pina coladas.
Cheers.
Capitán de Puerto LaPaz. This is sailing vessel Haraya. One more. Haraya.
Haraya.
Sí. Por favor. Gracias, you too. He's like, not even trying it. That was terrible Spanish on my part. I need to write it down. I do much better when it's written down.
Well, we've only been here a few minutes and we're already seeing the tide change, the current change, the winds change. So we have about 15 knot winds and about 3.5 knot currents, and this is the typical wonderful LaPaz Waltz. Whether you have wind or you don't, you'll get boats pointing in all sorts of different directions with the currents going in and out.
That catch over there is pointing right at us, right onto our beam. And if you notice, the catamaran is pointing opposite of him. The guy's actually nervous right now and he's on his bow because what has probably happened is he has probably drifted over his anchor chain because the winds and the current do weird things here. Right now, the wind is on our beam, 90 degrees on our beam. And we are actually more forward of our anchor than we should be. Our anchor is towards our stern, the way the currents are pushing us right now. It's the LaPaz Waltz, baby. You gotta love it.
10 knots of wind.
And we're still able to get our dinghy off. This is gonna be awesome. This is actually the worst part of the whole thing. It's getting the engine on, especially in the wind and the chop. But it's all part of it, and we'd like to go to town, so let's make this happen. Come on.
Looks like we got it down just in time.
Yeah, the wind's picking up for sure.
Better hold on, you're gonna get wet again. It's taco time. We're gonna go get tacos with some friends. I didn't get any sauce because I wasn't sure it would fit. Get in my belly.
What's up?
I'm spying on you,
Yeah.
seeing what you're doing.
Trying to salvage a electric cooler. It's been a good little freezer for us. But all of a sudden, we went home for the holidays, came back 3 weeks later, turned it back on, and it wasn't cooling anymore. Figured it had a leak, out of gas. So we found a guy down here, he does refrigeration. He had to put a T in because the Ingle does not have a recharge port or anything. We put a T in, we did a leak test on it, we didn't find a leak. So we're hoping it just slowly leaked fuel, gas after, you know, a couple years of use, or maybe more. The freezer came with the boat. We don't even know how old it is. But anyways, we've recharged it. We put some dyed refrigerant in it. Didn't see any leaks. It was working yesterday when it was charged. Now I'm just trying to put it back together the rest of the way, and hopefully our little freezer survives. And since we've added a port, we should be able to just buy some refrigerant, and maybe every year or so just kind of top her off. At least that's the plan. And if not, we'll just, you know, end up getting a new one.
So one of the main reasons we came to LaPaz was to get our spinnaker pole. This thing. Well, if this ain't awkward.
I think we're gonna invent a new sport called dinghy jousting. We just picked up a spinnaker pole here in LaPaz. Used. It's the exact length we need. Everything seems to be working well on it. We just gotta get it back to our boat.
It's a nice pole. The size of your pole.
How's your pole, babe?
It's a good pole.
Good pole. Just send me that.
Don't lean too far. get over to help you.
I got it. Let go, please.
We're going to use that to hold our head sail out and capture more of this light wind that we have in this area.
And that sport fisher just came by at like 20, 30 knots. Hang on. That guy right there. Makes me wonder if they do it on purpose sometimes, just to mess around with all us boats out on the anchorage. Let me see if I can explain what is going on in the LaPaz harbor. It's called the LaPaz Waltz, and this is why. Right, here is the entrance into the LaPaz harbor, right here. This whole thing is a shoal through here. This is very, very shallow. We are anchored right about here, right at the beginning of this shoaling, right where the shoal splits. There's a little place you can anchor here, and a place you can anchor here. So there's a big body of water here. So when the tide goes out, all of this water goes out, and it pinches and goes into this little channel that they've dredged through here and out. And what it does is it causes a 3 to 4 knot current coming out like this. And then when the wind is coming like this, it causes the stern of the boats to spin around with the current and the wind to hit you on the beam. And because every boat has a different keel type and different windage, some are catamarans, some are monohulls, some have nylon rods, some have chain, they all spin around their anchorage different between the wind and the current, and boats will just be pointing different directions. Boats have actually hit each other. Under normal anchorages, there's enough scope, enough room between them that they're all swinging the same. They won't hit each other, but because of the LaPaz Waltz, some boats aren't affected by the current as much as the wind, and they'll actually come really close together and hit each other. It's very, very crazy. And it's a pretty tight anchorage. Everyone's got, 100 feet or less chain out, and boats are kind of packed in here. There's been times the current will be stronger than the wind, and it'll push the boat forward into the wind, and you'll actually rub the chain down your anchor, or you'll actually rub the anchor chain down your bottom paint and scratch it all up. And it's quite the thing around here. It's good to be back in LaPaz.
It's good to be back in LaPaz. It's hot. That's about all I can say. It's hot. Oh. This is what makes it so dangerous, and why there are so many boats here that do tend to drag when you're not paying attention to your paying attention to your ground tackle, and the currents and the tide going in and out and the direction of the wind can get you into some trouble if you're not paying attention. So you got to be on your boat while you're in the anchorage, at least while the tides are changing, or or at least right now when we're having these bigger tides.
The wind is coming from our stern. Let me show you. This is our courtesy flag right here. It's blowing towards the bow. That's not what should be happening right now. Our anchor is behind us. That snubber line is actually going behind us. We can hear the chain hitting the hole every now and then, rubbing off our bottom paint. Yeah, the wind's at our stern. The current is coming in at such a pace that the boat is facing the current and not the wind. It's very, very, very strange.
Now it's over here. See?
It's coming off of our foredeck. There's our bow roller. And look at it, it's coming straight back.
Join us next time as we leave LaPaz with the wind at our nose. We battle our way north. If you're feeling extra tipsy, check out our Patreon page. Don't forget to hit like. Thanks for watching. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing.